Hi, and welcome to EdVantage. I'm Professor Hunsinger. Please subscribe to this channel. In this video, we're going to be discussing sex and social issues. Since sexuality is social, many topics regarding sexuality have become interest to the public and has become topics of hot controversy and debate. Some of these topics include birth control, assisted reproductive technology, abortion, pornography, sexualization and sexual objectification, teen pregnancy, and sexual violence. We'll go through each one of these and talk about some highlights. Birth control. So 62% of women of reproductive age are currently using contraception of some type. Birth control, the pill, became legal in 1960, and by 1962, millions of women started using the pill as a form of birth control. And it is currently the most common form of contraception, besides female sterilization. Other forms of birth control include the cervical cap or the diaphragm, the male condom, the birth control shot, the birth control ring, and an IUD. So under the Affordable Care Act, most insurance plans now cover birth control without copays or deductibles. Prior to that provision, a lot of women used to have to pay for their birth control out of pocket, which can be quite expensive. There are pros and cons to the birth control pill and to birth control in general. One is that it increases women's autonomy as far as when and how often they'd like to get pregnant. A con could be that it takes some of the responsibility for conception off of the male partner's plate. Also, it does protect against pregnancy pretty effectively, but not necessarily against sexually transmitted infections. The next social issue is assisted reproductive technology. Assisted reproductive technology usually happens when a woman or a couple want to conceive a child, but for a variety of reasons are not able to do so. Could be because of infertility, could be because they're a same-sex couple. And so new assisted reproductive technologies have helped people who normally wouldn't be able to have a child biologically have children. There's a growing market for this because women are waiting longer to get married and to have children. So for the first time, there are more babies born to women in their early 30s than women in their 20s. And that's because of other societal changes. Like more women are attending college, they're graduating from college, getting a career, and then waiting until their mid to late 20s to get married, and then waiting till their early 30s to have children. Also, increased acceptance of same-sex marriage has led to more couples who are not able to conceive naturally to pursue these new technologies. And also, mothers who are single and who want to have a child. Typically, these mothers are upper class, educated, have higher incomes to be able to support a child on their own. And a lot of these reproductive technologies are very expensive. So there is a class divide in who can afford to have these technologies. So some common ones is donor insemination or going to a sperm bank. In vitro fertilization is where they mix the sperm and egg outside of the woman's body and then implant the fertilized embryo into the woman. Donor egg or donor ova, a donor embryo, a surrogacy. So if a woman has unhealthy eggs or no eggs, she can use her partner's sperm, and a woman who has healthy eggs to have the man's biological child and the surrogates. And then adoption, which isn't exactly new, both domestic and transnational. So there are a variety of ethical concerns with these new reproductive technologies. As I mentioned, the class divide, who can afford it and who can't. Also, as gene editing becomes more accessible and more popular, there are concerns of a superclass of babies that parents will be able to choose which specific traits that they want their child to have. And some are concerned about that, the ethics behind that. Also, a new term that has entered the family vocabulary is called dibbling. A dibbling is a portmanteau between donor sibling and donor conceived sibling. So it's when one or two or more individuals are biologically connected through donated eggs or sperm. So interestingly, one man who donates his sperm to a sperm bank could have fathered 30 plus children, which means that all these children would be half siblings or dibblings. And of course, that could be problematic if the siblings don't know about each other, and perhaps maybe they even end up going on a date with one another and they don't know that they're half siblings. Probably one of the most controversial and heated topics in our society today is abortion. Abortion is terminating a pregnancy with either a pill or a medical procedure done in a clinic. Prior to Roe versus Wade in 1973, abortion was illegal. And there are many activists today who are fighting to overturn Roe versus Wade to make abortion illegal once again, or to severely restrict abortion rights. The big debate is over where and when life begins. Does it begin at conception? Does it begin when the embryo develops into a fetus? Does it begin when the baby's actually born? So there's debate on when life begins and balancing the rights of the mother and of the embryo or fetus. There's also debates over how late an abortion should be allowed to occur and under what circumstances. So some people may be okay with a woman having an early abortion, maybe between 4 and 12 weeks, or if she has an abortion due to rape or incest, or if the pregnancy is threatening the life of her mother. Attitudes on this issue has remained relatively stable over time, and it has become really politicized. A lot of people vote based on this single issue. Another controversial subject is pornography, which is the depiction of erotic behavior, pictures or writing, or video intended to cause sexual excitement. Because of the internet, pornography has become easier to access now more than ever before. And kids at younger and younger ages can have access to graphic images, whether they intend to search for it or not. Supporters of porn suggest that it can improve sex lives, provides a safe recreational outlet without fear of pregnancy or STIs, and may even reduce the incidence of sexual assault. So a study in Denmark found that after porn became legal in 1969, there was a decrease in the amount of sexual assaults. However, there are some concerns that go along with pornography, that it promotes risky behavior, like a lack of condom use. And it's very rare that in pornography images or videos that the male is wearing a condom, which could influence real life sex. Showing violent or degrading acts, especially towards women, which also can translate to real life later down the road. And there's also evidence that pornography may contribute to conflicts within marriage, and it could become excessive or addictive behavior, where it's interfering with your daily activities such as work or school or social life. Sexualization and sexual objectification. So sexualization is to turn something that previously wasn't sexual and make it into a sexual object or into sexualized imagery. Sexual objectification is the act of treating a person solely as an object of sexual desire. So typically, sexual objectification is associated more with images of women. For example, only showing a certain body part of a woman, or only viewing a woman as a sexual being instead of a whole complete person. And a disturbing trend is that we've noticed that girls are being sexualized at younger and younger ages. We're seeing marketing of thongs to very young girls. So thong underwear is pretty sexy adult underwear. Promotion of kind of sexy, scantily clad dolls, and sexualized content of young girls in the media. The sexualization of girls has been associated with depression, poor body image, and self-esteem. Teen pregnancy. So the good news is that teen pregnancy has been on the decline since the 1990s. This has been attributed to lower levels of sexual activity, improved use of birth control, and also what sociologists call helicopter parents. So parents who keep more of a watchful eye on their child And children and teenagers are way more busy now than they used to be with activities and extracurricular. Also, because of technology, kids, teenagers still may be having sex, but not face-to-face or in real life, so to speak, more online or through cell phones. This is a very good trend because teen pregnancy, especially to teens under the age of 18, is associated with a lot of bad outcomes like not graduating high school, more likely to be on public assistance. The children are more likely to have kids as teenagers themselves when they become teenagers, kind of perpetuating a cycle, and more likely to have behavioral and cognitive problems. Sexual violence can range anywhere from sexual harassment, sexual comments, to rape. More and more, we're talking about this term called consent, which means to agree to be sexual with someone and let that person know that sexual activity is wanted and you're not being coerced in any way. So I like this acronym FRIES. Consent is freely given, meaning that you're not being pressured or manipulated, or you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol. It's reversible, meaning that you are allowed to reverse consent at any time. It's informed, that you know all of your partner's sexual history and you're making an informed decision. Enthusiastic, that you're not reluctant or you're not doing something that you feel pressured to do because it's expected. And it's specific. So just because you say yes to kissing doesn't mean that you say yes to everything else. Rape culture is a term that sociologists use, that a culture or a society that trivializes or normalizes sexual violence, including rape. So some aspects of rape culture include victim blaming. So saying that a woman should watch her drink, or a woman was dressing a certain way and therefore she caused the situation to happen. Jokes that trivialize rape, not believing women. And it is true that about 2 to 10% of rape allegations are false, but it's also true that many more allegations do not get reported to the police due to stigma. The last thing we're going to discuss today is some of the statistics and demographic inequalities that are associated with sexual assault. So it's important to note that self-reported incidences of rape and sexual assault has more than doubled from 2017 to 2018. And this may have to do with more awareness about the issue and the Me Too movement, which we talked about in the gender videos, that have allowed more women to come forward. And it's important to note that men also get raped. About 10% of victims are men. Many people are reluctant to report because of stigma or fear they won't believe, or the consequences that it might have on their personal life or family. 2/3 of sexual assault victims know the person who assaulted them. So contrary to popular belief that rape happens to strangers, it's more common that sexual assault and rape occur with someone that the victim knows or perhaps is dating. Marital rape, which means rape that happens between two spouses, surprisingly, didn't become illegal in all 50 states until 1993. As far as demographics go, people under 30 are most at risk. This especially includes people who are attending college or college-aged. 90% of victims are women, and the rates are highest for Indigenous women. And people who have a transgender gender identity are also more likely to be assaulted in their lifetime. About 47% have reported sexual assault in their lifetime. All right, so I'm going to leave you with those somber statistics. I hope this video has been helpful, and I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.